Hey, hey, my AP Langers. Today's lesson, today's April the 20th. And what I want to do is just continue to prepare you and prep you for the upcoming rhetorical analysis that you're going to have to write. I also want to encourage you in your free time to read the Gatsby, because that is a work that you don't want to skip. You don't want to get through your junior year having not read that, because it's so good. It's such a powerful book. And hopefully we'll get to talk about that a little bit in the next couple of weeks. But right now, I just want to give you a few tips and a few facts that you need to know. And one of them is that your test, if you've been paying attention, is going to be, you already know that it's going to be on May the 20th at 2 o'clock. You will have 45 minutes to write it or type it. You will have 5 minutes to upload it. There are a lot of questions that you're going to have, and I believe that I have the answers to most of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to meet later with a live chat, and I'm going to let you please ask me whatever questions you have. I've been pretty diligent in watching the training meetings and the information that comes from the College Board and from other sources who actually make money by helping people prepare for the AP test. So Marco Learning being one of them. If you haven't looked up Marco Learning, that's a good place to start also. There's a lot of free material in there. There are some, they will actually grade your essays if you want them to, but it does cost money. That's one way to practice. So I just want to give you a heads up that that's what's coming up, and you're going to get to ask me all kind of questions. Also, I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown on what we're going to do this week. Here's my cat. What we're going to do this week. What I want you to do is, before we have our meet where we talk together, I want you to have read the 9/11 speech that Bush made. I'm going to put it in Classroom. I want you to read that speech, and then I want you to write a space cat analysis of it. Now, you can just write it on your own paper. You know what goes in there. There is, on the blog, I put a pretty cool little chart that you might want to use. It's a space cat chart, sort of, but it's got a place for annotations. And it's also got a place for your thesis statement. So what you're going to do, though, is you're going to space cat it, and then you're going to write a thesis statement. And when you do that, I want you to use the template that I gave you in the video the other day. So if you didn't look at that video, you may not have the template. So I want you to make sure that you do that. I do know that only a little more than half of you watched the video that I made. It's important that you look at it. I know that almost, I think 99% of you are signed up to take the test. So we're going to finish this through. We're going to walk this through. We're going to finish strong. In order to do that, you're going to have to work on doing these things that you're not required to do. You're not going to get a grade on it maybe, but you need to do it in order to prepare. So just keep all those things in mind. But anyway, you're going to do that to the Bush speech. You're going to write a thesis with a template. And then we're going to meet and we're going to talk about it. And then after that, I'm going to put a video of a guy who is teaching how to write the rhetorical analysis through that Bush speech. And now yours is not going to look anything like his, because that's the thing that frustrates you, that you have been frustrated with. I know. I mean, I get it. That there is no right or wrong way. Whether I guess there are wrong ways to do it, but there's no one right way to do it. And that is why I can't say, like in math, 2 + 2 is 4. If you get that, you got it. I can't do that. It's, did you do the thinking? Did you analyze? Did you make the connections? And did you communicate that well? And so there's not a right way. That's just the one way. There are many, many right ways to do it. So I want you to look at the video and watch how he teaches rhetorical analysis. And you'll probably see that he and I maybe might say the same things. That's why I picked it, because I like what he says. Now, he's, I'm sure, a much better teacher than I am. But what I'm saying is, I think he is on the right track, and I like what he does. So we're going to look at some of his videos, the first one being the Bush video. Also want to give you a few reminder tips while I'm here, is when you're writing your rhetorical analysis, let's think about the rubric. the rubric. The thesis is 1 point. The thesis is 1 point. If you don't write a clear thesis, you will lose the thesis point and likely not get much else, because if you don't have something to prove a line of reasoning, think of it like little dots that go through your paper, and it's like connecting the dots. If you don't have the first dot, it's hard to connect anything without that initial dot. So you have to have the thesis statement, and that's why I want you to have this template. I'd like to see you use it. And it doesn't have to be exact. Obviously, you're going to have to tweak it according to what you've already said in your introduction, and we'll talk about that introduction. I think together we're going to talk a little bit about the introduction when we meet tomorrow. So somebody remind me that we need to talk about that. So you have your thesis statement, and then you get 4 points for evidence. 4 points. Now, if you don't have any evidence, or you just summarize the piece, that's going to give you 0 to 1 point. We don't want to see a summary of the piece. Yes, you will say what you will write in there, this is what the writer says, but this is how he does it. And this is why the way he does it is important. It's effective. This is how it affects the audience. This is the reason that the writer does it this way is because you know the rhetorical situation, you'll be able to answer those questions. So remember, what you're doing is you're making connections between your ideas, and you want to analyze, not summarize, analyze. So you're going to link all your information together to your thesis statement, which answers the prompt. The last thing is the sophistication point. And the sophistication point, I don't think is elusive at all. Used to be that the 9 would have been, that would have been what they called was the unicorn, the one that maybe they had only 2 or 3 of those in all the thousands that they read. But it's not going to be like that here, because it's easier to get the sophistication point because you can get it in more than one way. So remember that if you write a clear analysis that explains the choices that the writer makes in regard to the exigence, to the rhetorical situation, and how does the way this person writes or speaks, because it could be a speech, how does that affect the audience? So thinking about who is the audience, after you've identified that, then you can see why the author chose the strategies that he or she chose, and you want to talk about that. You want to mention that, and that's a good way to get the sophistication point. Another one is just your style, your sentence structure. You use a variety of structures. You have telegraphic sentences mixed with perhaps lots of parallel structure, complex sentences, vivid imagery, and strong nouns, adjectives, and verbs are very, very important. And you're going to have a verb list and a verb list and a tone list ready for to use, so that you can pull one out in a hurry. So make sure that you have that list. If you don't have that list, you won't be prepared. So we want you to have the list. By the way, you are going to be able to use your notes, and we'll talk about that in our session. Okay, and the third way you can get the sophistication point is if you get it. For example, let's just say there's some satire, or there is some irony here, and you get it. Maybe the tension, maybe the writer is producing tension with his words because the situation is very, very tense. Maybe he's mimicking what's going on. So they want to see that you get it. You get the complexity of the piece. If you get the complexity of the piece, you can get a point for that. Now, I know your question may be, hey, if I make a 4 on the test, on the rubric, is that going to give me a 4 or a 3 or a 5? What's that going to give me? Well, guess what? No one knows. We don't know that. So, but you know what? We know that a 4 is a passing grade. We believe that it is. So, so we're shooting for the 4, 5, or 6. And I think that all of you are capable of making a 4, 5, and 6, which may turn into a 3, because 3 is passing the AP test. So we don't really know how they're going to kind of meld those together. Nobody knows. That's the word on the street. That's the word with anyone that you talk to, I'm following all kinds of information, and I've got my ear to the ground for you, trying to hear and know all that information. So that really is what I have for you. I want you to now go, and I want you to take that bush piece, and I want you to analyze it. I want you to space cat that thing, write a thesis statement. And then after you do that, we'll chat. Or if you want to, you can actually go ahead and look at the video if you want to. But don't look at the video until after you have done the space cat and after you have written a thesis statement. Because if you don't do it in that order, then you're not going to learn. You're not going to practice. The light will not turn on for you. And it also can provide some pretty good encouragement for you if you do it and then you say, hey, I wasn't off base right there. So there's a lot of reasons for you to please write the thesis statement and the space cat, then watch this guy's video. It's called something Garden of Literature or something like that. So anyway, I will see you this afternoon. I believe I've got, okay, let's see, at 12 o'clock, I hope I'm not getting this wrong. At 12 o'clock, I've got 8th period. And then at 2, I've got 4th period. I did it that way because I got some 4th period guys who have a class or something in between that time. So I just want to make sure that you were able to come. So love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, no, I'll see you this afternoon. Bye.